have the video on?
Yeah, but you can.
Okay.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for registering for the webinar. Today is the 6th day of Inspire to Innovate webinar series where we have Mr. Thomson, founder of Rapidor, as a speaker. Today, the speaker will be discussing about the topic leveraging technology for financial activities, and he's here to inspire you to innovate with his knowledge and experience. A few words about the speaker. Thomson is the founder of the startup Rapidor. Thomson describes Rapidor as a product which allows small and medium business owners to run their business on autopilot. Rapidor has recently won the Indian round of the Comet competition, the world's largest B2B competition. So Rapidor will be representing our country in the round finals where Ingram Microcloud, a company based in California, US, will award go-to-market funding to 64 independent software vendors in a series of 16 concurrent competitions across 5 continents. So Rapidor has also emerged as a top in the EmergeX competition organized as part of the Microsoft for Startups Highway to 100 Unicorns program. Also, Thomson is an alumnus of IIT Delhi. So today's session is co-hosted by St. Joseph's College of Engineering and Technology, Pala. A special thanks to the IEDC team and its nodal officer. Inspire to Innovate is conceived to engage the student community during this lockdown period. Any interested individual can attend the session. Every day will be a 40-minute knowledge-packed interactive session where key speakers, including startup founders, academicians, industry leaders, will share their knowledge and experience. The webinar scheduled today will be a 40-minute session. You can type your questions in the Q&A box below the screen. So now I would request each of you to take this as an opportunity to connect with him and make the most out of the session. So I would like to formally invite Mr. Thomson to take over the session. Thomson, please.
Sure. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yeah.
And the screen, you can see this screen that I have shared?
Yeah, completely.
All right, great. So first of all, I would like to thank Kerala Startup Mission for this opportunity to be able to interact with the attendees out there. And special thanks to the St. Joseph's College of Engineering and Technology for taking the initiative for an event like this. Now, even as we are looking at the screen that's staring at us, it says leveraging technology for financial activities. Now, when this topic was said very specifically, I was thinking now, which part do I touch upon, and especially considering the audience that is there, what do we discuss and what do we move forward with? So I thought at the end of it, it shouldn't be something that you have heard something and you forget, but at least something should stay back in your mind. And I just put some thought to it, and I thought we'll start off with some visuals which can help us also relate and tie it down in our mind for a long time to come. So moving on, at the end, we might understand what exactly this entire topic means, and I hope to put some sense to it. So moving to the next part of the discussion. Yeah. So this is the image I'd like you to keep in mind. It's one image I really like. This image is about 2 children enjoying cycling. And even as we run our companies, run our startups, and tomorrow many of you might be part of startups, many of you might be leading startups, many of you might take over certain companies that were startups, and you might be in leading positions. What you should definitely do is always enjoy the work. You will have tough times, ups and downs, but definitely take out time to ensure that the entire journey is enjoyable. Here in this image, as you see, it's about cycling, and you've got 2 kids over here who are enjoying the cycle that's on the screen, a simple cycle rusted here and there. So what are we going to talk about? Are we just talking about cyclists? No. A good cyclist is someone who has got a plan in mind. He has got long distances to cover, and he's got a specific plan on how much he should pedal, how many rotations per minute, which is called the cadence, and how exactly he's going to move forward and reach his final destination within a specific period of time before he runs out of the time, so to say. Many of you might have thought about running marathons. It was suddenly a big fad all over. A lot of marketing was happening through marathons. I have tried marathons and I've failed all the times. But that doesn't stop me from being a good cyclist, or doesn't stop me from trying to run a marathon again. So even as you start your companies, you might shut down for multiple reasons, so you may not do well initially, but have a clear plan on how you want to move forward. So one thing that is important in a cyclist is in endurance. And what endurance is the capability to do something difficult. It might be a bit unpleasant and it might be painful as you move forward and try to do things, but you have to do it for a long time and success will surely come your way. Now, what about a good startup? To run a good startup, again, you need to have the mental and physical endurance. And again, this endurance is to do a lot of difficult things. It might be unpleasant and it might be really painful. But unless you do it continuously for a long time, you're not going to be successful. Nowadays, many people are just jumping in and saying, we want to run a startup. But it is not as easy as, saying you want to run a startup versus how you really have to run one. And in difficult times like this, which people say they've never seen something like this ever before, it is not just an economic downturn, but it's a pandemic, it's a health issue, it is a concern in many ways. So these situations are something that will define who are the real endurance startup founders and who are the ones who might just shut shop and move forward. And from our perspective, we hope to really stick through this and see through this entire storm. Now, I would want you to see this as the cycle as the tool or the product that you'll be making if you're a product-based startup. The person who's riding the cycle is your team, specifically the founders, the co-founders, the core team members. The person sitting behind is your client. And you can see all the excitement and the worry and the concerns that this client is specifically having. But nonetheless, if you are able to deliver on what the client wants, why the client sat on your cycle, then you are successful. So the key parts to your business, I would want to give a model that can be kept in your mind, that you can choose to use as you move forward. There should be value creation. Now, this person is sitting behind to be able to go from point A to point B. You should be able to clearly articulate that value that you will give him or her as your client. How will you take them from point A to point B? And the entire process of saying it and convincing them is what you call as marketing. So you will say that I'm going to give you a fantastic cycle that looks like this, that will take you from point A to point B. And that is the value that I will deliver. And in the sales, what you finally sell to him may not be exactly what you say it is. It might be a certain slightly lower version, but nonetheless, you make a sale. And then you have to do a value delivery. You may not exactly take him smoothly, but as a startup, you definitely do your entire bit and take him from point A to B somehow or the other. And in all of this, if you do not get any money or do not have money to spend, then you're in trouble. Sometimes the client might pay late. Sometimes the clients might not pay at all. And sometimes you might have to give it for free initially. So I would like you to focus parallelly, see cycling and running a business in this regard, where you are doing a value creation, where you will take your client from point A to B, a marketing where you say what exactly you would want to deliver. And over time, you will need to be able to deliver that what you're marketing. But initially in your sales, you might have a slightly different to a solution that you're giving. You will deliver value, but not maybe in the most efficient way. And finance is something that you really have to be concerned about. So now moving to this, these key parts of your business, you will need to set benchmarks. Sometimes you might be just giving them low value. If it's low value in tough times like this, customers will choose not to use your product. But if it's of high value, it is really critical. They will say, okay, fine, these are expenses that we will still make because we want this product. Same way in marketing. Initially, you might just have a small set of customers. Marketing is an area you should focus on. But nonetheless, sales is critical. You have to ensure value delivery and the finance has to happen. So for your business, you have to have these sliders will be where exactly you stand. And these green lines is what I would like to say would be the benchmarks you have to keep as the minimum that you have to do. Our core focus today for our discussion is the finance part. While all of these are clearly important, finance is something that we talk about in detail. Now, this is about your business. If you imagine now, before you start the business, you need to clearly say what is the value. How will I go about marketing and trying to sell even before I have a product? How I will ensure the sales, value delivery, and finance. So if you do not do value creation, but keep on doing some activity, that is you're just cycling around, but not reaching a destination, then it is clearly something like a hobby. And if you're not doing marketing, people do not know your product is there and your business will end up being a flop. If you don't do sales, which is equally important, then there is no chances of revenue coming in and therefore you will not have profit. And again, You will fold your tent, you'll shut your shop. And if you say that I'm going to deliver a value, I'm going to take it to point B, but do not exactly reach there, that is what will be called, your company will be like, a scam, or you're not delivering, or, you'll be termed as a fraud maybe. So, and the last but not the least, again, finance, if you don't have the necessary money, you close down. So how do you go about setting these parameters for your business? Personally, in ours, we have said that we are creating something that is critical for your business that will help you manage it. Once you start, you can do without it. We have not set our marketing parameter, or we've not set importance very high for marketing, but it is very important, and we are personally low on this. However, we have set a very high parameter for sales because we want to generate revenues through sales. The best money that you can get from out there is money from your client. That is what you need to focus on. Many times as startups, being the startup community, we see a lot of companies trying to see that money should come in through funding. Maybe some grant from the Kerala Startup Mission, or maybe some money from the investors, or whatever means it may be. But the best money that you can get is always from the sales. And that is what goes into your finance part. And then again, for us, the value delivery also, we have set the benchmarks very high. And the finance part is also extremely high for us. But if you see Rapidor as a company, where I personally evaluate and where we stand, I feel is we definitely do a very high level of value creation, because even today in such tough times, we see a lot of our businesses using our product and taking their business forward with with using our product, involving their entire team through our product. So even though we've set it high, our value creation is much higher. The marketing, ours is extremely low. There's a lot of work we need to do. So in a time like this, we are sitting and thinking how best we can better our marketing once the lockdown moves out, and when we have to move forward, what are the marketing activities we will do? While we have set a very high benchmark level for sales, I think we are doing a decent job, and we are looking forward to bridge this gap. And now only time will tell how exactly we are going to make sure this is happening. In our value delivery, while we have said this is the value we will deliver, we always find ourselves, with room for improvement, where we can improve how we deliver our value. We'll talk of that also. And in our financing, while we've set very high standards, personally for us as a company, now moving forward, we'll ensure that we spend more time in collections in terms of our money out there, what we have sold as our product, and companies have bought our solution, and they have to pay us the money now. There is significant money in the market, and now is a tough time to get that money, but we'll see how exactly we can further give more value and get the money that is out there in the market. So as a product that we are giving, for our customers, they are taking our solution to help them in their own business models. In their business model, they use our solution to manage their sales, and they use our solution to control and put certain limits in their finances. Moving forward, how many businesses like this are we targeting? If you are going to create value for a market where there are only 2 or 3 clients, the runway for you is very low. The kind of sales you can do is low, and therefore the finance or the money that comes in is going to be also very low. Unless you believe that engaging more companies, more customers, or more clients will bring you eventual money in a different way later on. So for our size, our type of company, we have looked at a target market where there are about 50 million SMEs, and we are targeting 1 million of them, to look at bringing revenue from these 1 million so that we can finance our company. And at the same time, we are going to automate processes for them so that they can manage their finances in an automatic way. So how are we doing it is something that we look at right now. And what are the other companies out there that can do a similar or a different job, depending on what you or the other companies might want to do. So what we provide is a simple workspace for the business to manage their core activities from sales to collections. Both of these are critical part of the finance or the cash flows. here they're able to clearly see how much of money they have that is out there in the market. How can they go about collecting it? We will see how soon these clients are typically making the payments. And then what we come down to see is basically, do we want to sell to people, anybody who comes and asks us money, or do we want to be able to sell to people who can pay us money? All of us should have a clear stance of what sort of customers we want to sell to. And the clear answer today, and especially today's crisis, is we want to sell to companies who can pay. If they cannot pay, then there is no point in selling. We claim that the onboarding of each of these clients are easy, but in the value delivery, we find certain set of uphill journey, slight difficulties, and that is for us to smoothen. And now is a good time to actually work on features, broken parts of your system, and get them fixed, because the kind of sales that is happening is low, and this is a good time to be able to spend time on that. Now, what you see here in front of you are 4 screens from the mobile view of our product. The first screen is what you'll be landing on as a business owner. And these screens help you automate your finance related activities. First thing is, it helps you with your sales, that it brings in the starting point of how your revenue is going to fall in. Through Rapidor, we have automated the process of being able to execute sales activities to your entire range of customers, be it any industry. Right now, we are focusing on the B2B part, any industry, where the business owner can clearly see the total sales that has happened in his company on a real-time basis, executed by his team in the market, again through our mobile app, the total number of invoices that have been issued in the time period that we're looking at, how the outstandings and payables, the money that should go out from the money that we have to pay, maybe our mobile internet provider, our office rent, the suppliers of our product that we would want to sell certain parts of it, etc. Moving forward, we are also able to clearly see what are the outstandings and receivables. Now, this is the level of automation that we've tried to do in the finance side specifically, so that any business owner tapping on it, this breakdown appears over here, where how much of amount is owed by who. And again, this automation happens either through voice or a UPI payment or by cash or check, which is going to be irrelevant going forward. But if you see, we can summarize the entire value that we give to help a business owner automate their sales, to delivery, to invoicing, to making this amount available for collection. And when the cash comes in, that's when you clearly say that the cash at hand is what you have received minus what you have to pay. So over here, what I'm telling you as a potential business owner or someone who's going to start a company is that these sort of processes are the most critical that you can deploy in your company, using a lot of different products out there. There are a lot of free products. For example, Razorpay is another company that provides a lot of such solutions where with a click of a button, you can make sure the money comes in. And this is all important, good practices to follow, because you save a lot of time that ideally you would have spent otherwise trying to look at the numbers, look at the books, etc. And it is important that you do your filings, the GST filings, all the statutory requirements at the right time. And solutions like this will help you achieve that. So this, or Razorpay, or maybe InstaMojo, or a lot of other different companies that enable collections happen, enable you to raise invoices and share invoices, that enable you to book your sales or revenues, is the critical part. Now, what are the automations possible in this? Now, even as you look at the screen, we have the capability to automate, saying that if this is your receivable, which is about 2.7 crore rupees out in the market, we can set an option where the owner's voice, which is pre-recorded, that says, "Hi, maybe Allison, you need to," or "Hi, Eliza Barker, you have to make a payment of 50,000 rupees. And this call goes, and after the call, a link is sent to the phone, and the phone the receiver can choose to click the link and make the payment, and you can do continuous follow-ups. In times like this, what really gets you the money is not hoping that the money comes, but continuous calls to each of your clients who owes you money to ask them to make the payment. Now, if you've got a lot of clients, an automation like this is what's going to enable you to ensure the collections are going to happen. On the same note, you need to have a clear view. Now, an accounting solution might give you the view of this, but clearly when you click on the receivable aging, and you can set rules saying that anything between 0 to 15 call 10 times a week, anything between 15 to 30 call 20 times a week, and then anything between 30 to 60 call 30 times. All these rules you can set, and automation is possible. So now what I want to say clearly is that in all these points of view, finance is the key thing. You might have a great idea. You might have a great marketing process in place. Your people might go and actually sell. You might actually deliver the value. But if the finance part is not there, if the money is not there, you will shut your shop. And today what we see is that is the biggest problem. That is all the thing that you see our governments are announcing 20,000 crore rupees of different benefits given out to companies. And we here as startups, you when you start your company tomorrow, or if you're running your company already, no, we are at some level significantly contributing to the economy's GDP. Though it's very small from our side, collectively together we provide a big chunk, and we are clearly important in this whole play. So it is always important for us to make sure that we move forward and deliver the value. And here we should look for solutions like this that can help centralization of information. Centrally, as a business owner, I'm able to push out to all my team members on their mobile app what is the outstanding of the clients that they are selling to. It helps us in efficient decision making. Tomorrow, suddenly, if the client calls and says, "Hey, I want to place an order," even if the order is placed, the system blocks it. The automation comes in picture by virtue of the credit limit being there. The credit is not extended further. Mobility. This should work not just in your office, but anywhere you are. You might be traveling tomorrow, or your salesperson might be in a different location. Like today, they're all in their own places and they need to work. Mobility is a key factor. More effective data communication. We don't have to wait for end of month sales reviews or end of week reports to be made. All of this happens automatically. Now, all these automatics that we're saying is the automation, and which effectively increases the productivity, which is the last point. Now, to deliver all this, again, we need to try and make it seamless. The targets that we have is that we should be able to evaluate the fitness of a client who we want to sell to. Again, by fitness, I mean, are they capable of paying? They might be capable of paying, but are they capable of using? Because if you really have to handhold them and keep on doing all the work yourself, then it is not a good client who fits in your persona or profile. We have to identify a training plan that can be again automated. And then these users of ours are able to smoothly and systematically use the system. Set cadence, how frequently, how good, or be able to track the progress of how they're doing. Controls, follow controls to increase in speed. Now, if every time a sale is happening, I have to go and check one paper, check a ledger, or check an Excel file and come back and say, okay, he's clear to sell, then I'm going to hit a problem. But here what we do is we automate all this and we ensure this is happening fine. So don't try to automate everything day one. Go through the process, understand what is taking more time, and then decide what are the critical factors or critical parameters based on which you want to automate your system. So again, I'd like to come back to where we started, which is the key parts of your business. You need to create value. If you're not creating value, it ends up being a hobby. You need to do good marketing, else the businesses out there will not know your solution can be used and you end up being a flop. The sales is critical because sales is what brings in the revenue. The best money is always from the customer. And the best part about the customer money is that it can be recurring. So if you don't do sales, then you effectively have no profit. And if you don't do value delivery of what you say you will do, it becomes a scam, and then you fall in poor light. Your reputation is affected. And most important, if you don't manage your finances well through solutions like this, or through any other solution that you think is most relevant for yours, it could be even an Excel sheet where you put some numbers in. There are easy ways to manage those if your volumes are low. If you don't have any of those, you are going to be in trouble, and no money means you definitely close. Now, to do all of this, if you look at cycling itself, it's good to cycle, but it's boring to cycle alone. You need to have good friends, you need to have good company, and you need to have fun time as you run your business. Me personally, I cannot do it on my own. I really rely on co-owners of the business, or I would say co-founders. And that is important for you to always have. In times like this, you realize that as you focus on putting out fire in one place, your co-founders are the ones who ensure that the company still holds straight, runs smooth, and moves forward to see a better tomorrow. So I've got wonderful co-founders who've stuck with me, who we have stuck out for each other through thick and thin, Pawan and Prabhu. And we've got clear areas that we handle. Like I look at the strategy and sales. Sales also includes the collections part and the finance part. And obviously, like I said, there's room for improvement for us over there. Pawan takes care of the ecosystem. He's the chief technology officer, and he ensures the platforms and the rules are perfectly fine so that we can really scale non-linearly and move forward. Prabhu, he's the credit risk analyst. He's the chief operations officer. All of us come with significant years of experience. And this per se is not my first startup, but I think this has been my longest running and the better ones, so to say. It is only because I went back after my first startup. I felt I was very immature. I didn't do it right. I went back to gain corporate experience, and that's how I got back in shape. And then I thought when it was good time, I came back and started this along with my co-founders. So coming back to our image we started with, I hope you continue to remember this. Make your product that is reliable. It doesn't have to be the best product immediately. You can upgrade it as you move forward. Make sure your client is not freaking out but having fun, as much as your team is having fun and you are not freaking out with difficult situations. And to manage all of this, very simple formula is we have to clearly do value creation, ensure the right marketing at the right time, ensure the sales is happening, may not be the best product, ensure you're delivering the value, may not be the best way, but move forward and continue. And last, but the most important, finance. Have the money to pay, manage it well from day one. These are all from the mistakes that we have made and that we have made in the recent past also. And hope you learn from this, and we look forward to see in what best way we can coordinate and we can collaborate. So with that, I leave you. Thank you so much. Have fun today. Manage your finances so that you can continue to have fun tomorrow and then on.
Thank you so much, Thomson, for such an insightful session. Now, the participants can ask your questions on the Q&A box below. So,
yeah, so I have got so I think I can. So where do I start answering the questions from?
yeah, there is a Q&A box on the bottom of the screen.
Okay, a Q&A box. Yeah, all right.
There is only one question. So if anyone would like
Perfect.
to.
Yeah, I think we can answer this question.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good question. Santosh Nair has asked a question that says there are many such solutions like yours. Example, Sugar CRM. What is the differentiator? So it's a very valid question because a differentiator is something that is very important. This is also a question that always your investors will ask you. Hey, there are so many such things. What is the differentiator? So for example, I'll answer this question for us also as Rapidor, and also I'll answer this question taking an example. The closest example to us is Zoom. Zoom is a company that came in after all these were there. There were WebEx, there was Citrix, there were different other solutions, and they came into a crowded space. Now, why are we using Zoom today? Because there's clearly a differentiator, and that's what this question is asking. There's always room where, if you look at the Sugar CRM, it does not automate your finance processes. Here, what happens is that you have an automated call center, so to say. And again, these are all features. These are all features that can be maybe built easily, or maybe tomorrow someone else can build. But as long as you deliver the value that clients are getting, clients are having, you stand to differentiate yourself out. If you see, our clear differentiator is not in building a CRM, But in the core team that I happen to be a part of, Prabhu comes with very clear value that can be added to help a business owner understand his risk. And that is what we are automating here. If you see the screens here, I don't think any sugar CRM will have solutions that automate and collect the payments, etc. And neither are they reliable. More so, sugar CRM or any other CRMs do not help you link with other banks or link with other financial institutions, or not the regular ones, to be able to see your gap based on the permissions that you share. You share, okay, hey, I've got a capital gap. I've got so much of receivables. I've got so much of payables, and I've got a gap now. I want to bridge the gap. Earlier, banks used to really understand the finances by looking at balance sheet, a lot of things that were asked for. Today, they take a lot of non-traditional data points of how are you running a business? Are you running it regularly? Are your people there? Are you taking the money to finance inventory? So all these sort of parameters can be tracked on our application, on our product, on our platform. And what happens is that based on the permission that the business owner wants, he can choose to avail this facility. The next thing is also, ours is not a product like CRM. Ours is not an ERP. It sits on top of ERPs. It wraps around dated ERPs. Today, if you see, businesses are transitioning, moving forward, and they would like to use systems that can communicate with other counterparts of theirs. So through this Rapidor platform, you can communicate with other clients of yours and your clients' clients also, if they choose to. So it is more a platform than a simple product or a solution. So how do you see, next question, Satish Kumar, how do you see the VC and funding in the startup ecosystem post-COVID? So again, this is a no-brainer right now, in the sense, no one is going to immediately go out and fund. Everyone's going to wait and watch, even if it's something really good. For example, take our own behavior. We have all stopped buying food from restaurants. We want to be clear. We don't want to take a risk. It might be fine. It might be good. It might be trustworthy, but still, we will wait and see. Same is the case for most of the VCs and funding. They will wait and see for new investments, but the old investments that they would have already made, they might choose to fund one more round, maybe at a lower valuation if they can, or maybe at the same valuation. But at a higher valuation is very unlikely, because nobody in the market today knows how exactly this is going to unfold. Even today, sitting today, we do not know if tomorrow the lockdown is going to take off or not. And after which we'll see the second order effects come in, like economy not pumping up, economy not moving forward, etc. So the quick answer, the VCs will say they're still funding. They'll say that they have money, but the first preference is always the companies they have already invested in, because they know those companies already. So what is the normal break-even period for a startup? So again, it's very different. If you see some of the big companies that have raised good funding, solid funding, they have raised after many years of existence. The recent trend has been where, raising money, suddenly if you're not showing traction, maybe, you won't get funded. I would always say, personally, from my point of view, don't fall in the trap of being boxed in a situation saying, hey, you are running a business for so long, so therefore we will not fund you. That's all right. There are people who really fund for different reasons. Many investors told us that, hey, you're making revenues, but hey, you know what, your growth is less. There are many reasons, but a break-even point would be specifically, I think, depending on what your business is. I think it should be between 4 or 5 years you might do a break even, and it would only be from the revenues naturally. Equity or debt financing, which is best when we initially start a business? Forget initially start, Fahad. As of today, debt financing is something that you shouldn't take up, is what I would say. Even I'm trying to convince myself that we shouldn't take up debt financing if it's an option also. Only because how situations are unfolding, you do not know if you really can service that debt. If you can't service the debt, then you become a defaulter, which is not the intention that you have. But if you do an equity financing, you have got everybody taking risk that if it goes down, okay, fine, it's gone down. So equity is always preferred over debt today. But if you're running a business regularly with good cash flows, it is always good to be able to raise a debt and then be able to pay back within a specific period of time. Abhinav Mittal is asking, how are fund products and investment products regulated? What scope does it have for lawyers? So lawyers have got a very high scope. The fund products and investment products, I think I'm not an expert to answer that. There are a lot of different regulations anyway. Even for anyone who would want to process payments, even though they're not a fund or an investment product, they have got their own regulations to manage. They have to do settlement within T+2, T+1 day, etc. on as they would sign up for. So lawyers have really a good scope in terms of being able to automate. There are a lot of startups that are done by lawyers that run by, or at least give laws related services, and that is there. And I think there's a good scope. I would always say have a contrarian view. Everyone would say, hey, this is regular, this is normal. And it's not always important for you to announce to everybody why you have a different view, except for those people who really matter, like the VCs maybe, or like the other people in the close group. Share your ideas and thoughts and see why you have a different view and why it might, because Zoom is a big success because he bet it different. At that time, everybody said, hey, there is 100 other companies like yours. Why would you want to bet on this? So have your own reasons and be very clear about it. How are fund products? Okay, that we answered right now. We have the next question. Why you selected this field? Any interesting things happening in your life? Okay, I think personal questions will keep aside, but why this field? I will tell you. If you see the screen, our background in education has been specifically, we've worked in the credit risk space in banks. We've got the capability of scaling up solutions with Pawan being there. Prabhu and I, we've worked towards in the credit risk space. We wanted to come up with a solution that can help business owners run their business on autopilot for sales, for collections, and to get working capital need. Like in situations like this, you should be able to immediately finance your sales. If you're getting a lot of sales orders, the system understands sales orders are coming in. It is from legitimate sources. We can validate that. You always deliver on this lines historically because that information is on our platform. Therefore, we will increase the inventory for this product that is selling, but not for another product that is usually not selling. Therefore, we can finance that inventory. Therefore, we'll share this information with the bank if you want, and the bank can choose to maybe fund that sales for yours. So those sort of field reason is why we actually came into this. There are a lot of other fields that we can work in, but this is something that we stuck onto. When do we start managing our finances? My product is under development. When should we plan for it? I think you should plan for it already. It is not suddenly one day you start planning. Today you can plan and say, hey, this is how my invoices will look. This is my invoice format. Let me go to a free solution and create my own invoice. Let me send an invoice. Let me see how it's going to be. And finance you should manage from day one itself in terms of how much money you have, how much money you have to use for the next so many months, and so on. So the next question is from an anonymous attendee. How can you help local e-commerce businesses? So local businesses is what we can help. Local e-commerce businesses is something that we have not focused on. I would always say choose your niche space and start focusing there to add value. Else you will try to be everything for everybody, which we ended up almost being, and we stopped that, before we really shut down. So from our perspective, we are not serving the e-commerce space right now, but we have easy integrators we can do. Someone else has built a solution, we can easily integrate with that, and we can move forward. The next question, what is the major thing concerning you before starting your entrepreneurial career? I think these are all very open questions. These are in the sense, there is no formula that works for me that will work for you. It is for you to know how much of risk you want to take. And always in the team, I would say, and I wouldn't want to do this journey myself. I will always choose the right people who will stick through thick and thin. And I will want to validate it through situations. And the best situations that validate if you are on the right track or not is bad situations. How does each one of you react during that time? We can have all the principles and policies and everything. But if you stick to it when time comes, that is what defines you and helps you move forward. Is it mandatory that the founders need to be qualified to enter the fintech industry? I don't think so, because a lot of people who are not at all qualified are entering the space. And if you do it right, you can do it well. Today is a day when no one can say that you're not qualified to do anything. You want to be qualified in, let's say, self-driven cars. Go to Udacity or go to Coursera. Pick up the course, study it, do it. If you can execute, anybody will pick you up. And if you can do it well, anybody will allow you to do it. No one's going to stop you. So education is secondary, but you should prove it with outcomes. How did you meet your co-founders? Yeah, so Pawan and I, we studied together in college. I know Pawan for more than 20 years now. Prabhu and I, we've worked together, and three of us had done a prototype earlier. We did a minimum viable product, and then we gave it to a bank to use it, and they used the minimum viable product and didn't come back for the sale because the product was working itself and it was in an Excel sheet itself. and that worked fine. So we've got past history of working together. And always, if you see what's helped us move together is each of us are happy and willing to take sacrifices. Each of us at different point in time have come up and said, hey, you know what, I'll sacrifice this for the company. Not because any of us has asked for, because that was the best thing that they could do and each of us have offered. And even today we move ahead in such situations and we are able to stick together. It's the tough situations that will always define you, I would say. How do you charge? We charge on a monthly basis. Our product is a software as a service model. We also have a one-time upfront fee that we charge in terms of any different integrations that you would want. If you don't want that service, you don't have to take it. You just pay for the monthly ongoing SaaS model. And we try to charge specifically depending on the kind of server cost of the space that you take. And we typically try to keep it for unlimited users. Thomson, thank you for your talk. Thank you. So did you invest your own savings or you have external investors? So this my first company that I was just after college. The investment, if you ask what I made, was I forego my sign-on bonus and I just decided to start a company. 8 months into the company, I thought I was not running it well. I went and started picking up experience. I joined Morgan Stanley. I worked there. I had a backup. Then for this company specifically, we also, each of us sacrificed our precious part of what we had as savings. We also have got silent participants in terms of who invest and who believe in us, and in terms of I mean, there are difficult times when we did not know how we will pay the next month's school fee for our children. Even I mean that tough situations we've had, but we stick through it and we move forward. Does your product support financial planning and budgeting? So we support budgeting for sales in terms of how much of sales target planning we do. Budgeting is not our forte right now. While we have got Excel sheets that we had made to do it, we have not put it into the product because it would have been burning unnecessary money because there are no clients ready for it. If there are clients, even 10, 15 clients of our more than 100 clients we have today, we will bring it out, and we have not asked for it. So now is the time we will be looking at those kind of features and say, what will we build and bring out? What are all the methods or strategy to bring in clients who is already using a similar platform, which are equally competitive? Okay, so now coming to this, there are similar platforms maybe, but we truly believe we are moving towards a different space altogether. We might be looked at as, if you look at a Tesla car from outside, and if you look at a Mercedes Benz, any day the person will go and pick up a Mercedes, unless the marketing is enough to know what is a Tesla. A Tesla car was something that suddenly one day it started running on autopilot. So today, most of our businesses run their operations to a lot of automations, but suddenly one day, we see them running their business on autopilot. So we are targeting businesses who would be fitting in our space. There are a lot of companies to whom we say no to also. We do not sell to them either because they don't fit the bill in terms of payment. They don't fit the bill in terms of potential to use it. They might cause accidents in the system. They might not use it correctly and then blame us saying that the system is not right. Many cases we will we as founders or as developers will say, hey, this is not a bug, it's a feature. But when you have clients who are small and medium enterprises, they have no patience to listen to what it is. It better work. If it doesn't work, you're in trouble. So we look at clients who actually can take it, use it, and then upfront we clearly tell them, and then they move it forward. So there are different methods to bring in strategy for clients. The best we have in front of us is the opportunity we have with Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro is the world's largest software distributor. Now, we are also very humbled and very honestly thankful that we were selected from more than 4,000 companies that they looked at. And so we figure in the top 15, the top from India, top 15 in the world so far. And if we come out as top, then we would be getting $1 million in equity-free cash. And that is what we can deliver for our client, we can look forward to utilize in our business. So that's about us. So our strategy is to go through channel partners. How are going to market the solution? How are we going to market the solution? How many clients do you have today? So we have got more than 100 clients today. And these clients are bringing in more customers of theirs. And we have got different strategies for non-linear growth. Our target is to be able to onboard at least 5,000 new customers each month. So that is our target. And we hopefully will work on it now more focused because we have the time to do it. the cost of acquisition of each client. So these are all very solid questions. So the cost of acquisition of each client is for us today is about it pays back. It pays back in about 8 months. In 8 months, we break even for that specific customer alone, depending on the pricing for what the customer is taking. So 8 months is what we target. More than 8 months is not good. Less than 8 months is very good, and we try to reduce that. Is that you are saying the ROA of VC will drop? I don't think it's a relevant question. So VCs will be able to answer that. How secure is the data? Yeah. So the data is first of all the now we're getting more focused into our product. The data is secure. We've got a 256-bit encryption secure SSL layer. We also follow all the parameters that are required regarding data security. And the client always owns the data. We do not have access to it. Every time someone else as a super admin also tries to access, it's all in the logs available with the business owner also. We follow the international standards that are required, because with companies outside India also using our solution, we ensure that we maintain these standards. What is the expectation of investors while we pitch our idea? So that's for a different session. So this can you analyze demand side and which customer will pay, who will not pay from the bill? Depending on your startup, you will be able to box the customers and see will they be able to pay or not. That is different. On our side of the system, we do not analyze the customer's business cycle. It's the data is completely with them. We just know that is the activity is happening or not. Is the solution being used because our servers get consumed? So that's how we know if the customer is active or not. So we have got a team. We hire the team we handpick the team very specifically. All of us interview them, and we are focused on what they can perform. We do not worry on the qualification. We make sure that the team, the person says what he says he can do, he is able to do. Then so there is Rapidor a platform which links manufacturers and salesmen? Yes, Rapidor is a platform that links manufacturers, distributors, dealers, and salesmen. We are moving forward to be able to link individual people who are working, who can say, I can pick up this work and do it, if the businesses are open to share the work. So we've got task management, task activities that are available, which will help even a person, let's say in any place in the world. Let's say not sitting here today, I want to sell in Spain. I should be able to open it up for people in Spain and grow the platform there, where users in Spain can log in and see what tasks for companies in Spain can I do, and I will be able to do that and execute. That's where we're moving to. What is your strategy to ride this wave of COVID-19 with the uncertainty on the duration of the impact? Yeah, so with COVID-19, first of all, we've decided to be cool. We've decided to stay calm and first of all take care of our most important assets, which is the team. We are able to currently take care of them for the next 5 to 6 months is what we believe. We hope to stay that way. And we are also very honestly looking at discussing with each of them. We've got some of our very solid team members who I'm really indebted to. These are not my co-founders, but my team members who have come up and said that Thomson, till such time as we require the money, don't pay us a salary, just book the salary. So I'm very thankful for such team members who give us the kind of energy and the boost to move forward. And besides that, for others who we are able to service, we are able to give them to make sure their expenses are managed while we book their complete salary as expenses from our side. One. Second is there is always non-linear opportunity to grow. I mean, if your business is something that, if you're a restaurant or if you're a company that's got that depends on a lot of footfalls, we need to see how exactly this can be changed. For example, let's say you are a company that's focusing on a lot of people maybe seeing a product or seeing what you put out there. You can choose to reach out to them and maybe incentivize them to be able to respond or react to your offering, whatever you're offering, in a way that they also have an incentive to use, because a lot of people have got free time. So it's a good time to maybe pivot such products that do not suddenly see sales and revenue, slightly different one, considering you have the necessary runway. For us, we plan to very clearly move forward with partnering with other distributors and utilizing whatever servers we have to be able to start serving customers and giving them the opportunity to run their business on ours at a cost. We'll say, hey, this is the cost that's coming to us. You're open to pay what you can. You're open to pay for the very basic versions. For the advanced ones, obviously, there's a charge and we'll be charging them. But for the very basics one, businesses who would want to try and work, we'll try to see how we can move on that. Also very important is regarding now is the time to actually get your pitch deck ready and pitch deck fine and start pitching to all VCs. Very clearly, take feedback from them of what's happening and move forward, because if you have the time, you can manage it. Clearly do it right now. They might say that, you know, your valuation has gone down. They might all play that card, but that's all right. Assess and see what valuations you're getting in the market and be clearly there, ready for it. At the same time, I would say reduce your expenses maximum, go into the conservation mode completely. Where do I find a co-founder for non-existing software solutions? So that's where you come in. You know, if you have found yourself, you clearly will be able to find a co-founder. So I would always suggest find yourself. Find yourself. Are you cut out for this? Find yourself if you believe in the idea. Find yourself and see if you think this will move forward. Because in our journey, respectively, at least one of the co-founder felt this is not going to work, and the other had to convince him that, you know, it's going to move forward. And even if it's not, you know, on these matters, this is how we should work. So you have to be able to first convince yourself, and then, you know, I think automatically you'll find a co-founder. In the view of failure of company, is it better to work for a company as well as work in my company? So I would suggest that, you know, I mean, I would see this as unfair to the company you're working for, and unfair to yourself, because you will not give the best for your own company. If you think that you should fold your tent, fold your tent. If you think some company is able to pick you up and, you know, hire you right now, if you think that there's no other way you can move forward, I would say go for it. But I strongly believe that if now is the time that you can really leverage correctly. You know, it's not a common answer, not a simple answer. If it was very simple, then, you know, we might not be even having these questions come. But we have to see what can be done different, and sales happen. We, for one, are clearly looking at channel partners. How can we increase the revenues of our channel partners? Therefore, our sales will happen. We are based out of Kerala. Our head office is in Cochin. We work out of the Kerala Startup Mission office. We are proud to be incubated there, and we really benefit from a lot of services the Kerala Startup Mission has given us. So we are a Kerala company. We have an office in Delhi. We have an office in Bangalore also, where we actually shut our office in Bangalore. Now we are planning to reopen, and, you know, we are now considering should we reopen. But we are completely in Cochin. From here in India, we've got clients in Mexico and successful pilots in Singapore. Clients out of the Middle East, and strong interest from the US, besides serving our clients who are pan-India. What do you think? No, we were not prepared for such a pandemic. The question is, were you prepared for such a pandemic? If yes, how? So first, the answer is no, we were not prepared. But we had actually started working from home about 10, 12 days before the shutdown, lockdown. Only because our current processes are such that you have to log everything through a system. We've got Git, we've got all issues logged in, we've got new client requirements logged in. Nothing is going to work unless it's logged in. So the only thing that changed for us is that people were doing the same activities from their homes. They were logging in the issues instead of the office from their homes. And that's how we moved forward. And had this happened maybe a few weeks later, maybe we would have been with much lesser cash, I think. So you don't really find yourself prepared for such things, but you can react in the best way possible by choosing to, you know, see, have some more long runway. I think this the recorded video of this would be available on YouTube itself.
Yeah, it's there on YouTube.
Yeah. So all right.
Almost all the questions. I mean, thank you so much, Thomson. It was really wonderful, and you have done the presentation very well, and you answered all the questions in the Q&A, and in limited time as well. So I think the participant has got an overview on the product as well as, and as an entrepreneur, what Thomson is doing and how you can follow and get inspired about his activities. So thank you so much, Thomson, for your time. So it was really a wonderful session, as I said.
Thank you to KSU, thank you to St. Joseph's, and thank you all participants for patiently listening and asking all the questions. Very happy to be able to be of any support in any way possible. Fairly, you know, if there is more important things, we'll do that. But obviously, we will always look forward to give back our best through KSUM, a wonderful platform. We are really thankful to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samson. You can now stop the slide. I have to show there is a poll that was happening on the background. So I'll show the results. So the next session will be happening tomorrow 5 p.m. The topic will be prototyping as a process. And the speaker is Ms. Lavi George, Senior Fellow Product Marketing of Kerala Startup Mission. So you can continue with registering for that webinar as well. It's the same registration link. You can scroll down and select the date and submit the registrations. And these are the results for that poll which was running on the background in the chat session. So it's already, the link to those results are already posted on the chat link. So thank you so much, participants, for joining. So you can now leave the webinar. Thank you so much, Thomson.
Thank you.